Welcome to my show. A guest here. His name is Douglas Brinker. Mr. Douglas, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much, Mr. Douglas. Firstly, you are a survivor. You have also served in both the Navy and the Machine Gun Army, and you are also a disabled 2004 Iraq veteran. Can you please, sir, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, sir?
Yes, that is correct. Well, thank you. A little bit about myself is my story of recovery and how I came about in my journey that led back to my very younger youth. And I spent 5 years in a children's home because I did not have biological family to live with. And fast forward many schools, going into the military, I served both, yes, in the U.S. Navy for 7 years, 3 years active duty, and then I came out, worked a bunch of different types of jobs in my life, from being a cook to washing dishes to cleaning floors, driving truck, and I never had purpose. And 1989, I joined the Michigan Army National Guard as a truck driver. There I spent 3 years, and I got bored because we weren't doing anything. And so most of my life has been filled with a lot of setbacks and boredom and no purpose. And what I found is I have to find purpose for my life. I have to find a reason why I'm here on this earth. Unfortunately, because of the earlier years of bullying and not knowing really who I was, I ended up making an attempt to end my life by suicide on August 7th, 1999. And after that, I began getting mental health service treatment. But unfortunately, because of my past and my ignorance of my own self, I never received a full recovery, which there really isn't fully recovery in many things like mental health. You're in recovery all of the time. And what I found was I had to go back into the military to get purpose, get discipline for my life. And so that's really what I did is on October 2nd, 2002, I reenlisted back into the Michigan Army National Guard. And in January of 2004, my part of my unit was activated to deploy to Iraq with another transportation unit here in Michigan. And so I found myself in Iraq in the April of 2004, and just 63 days in country, I received a deadly near fatal staph infection from the sand, from the bacteria in the sand. that medically retired me out later that year. I returned home and I had a reason that God spared my life, not just once, but twice, because 2001, prior to going back in the military, I made a second attempt to take my life. So that's really the gist of my journey that's led me to today. I now work for the very same organization that I once received services from, working with our military veteran population.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas. And I am also glad that you are still alive and well today. I would also like to ask if you have any book you've written regarding to this experience, sir.
Yes, I have. In 2018, when I started at this organization that I now work for, I sat down and started to put together those pieces of my life. And I was always intrigued about writing a book, but knew that I probably didn't have it in me. And I've learned in the journey and going through a leadership coaching session for 4 months with a great friend of mine here in America that everyone has a story worth sharing. And so I began to put the words onto paper, onto the screen. And lo and behold, I got into about halfway through my life. And then I stalled. And the reason I stalled is because taking the reader to the very darkness of my life was a challenge. And I worked with an editor, a great friend of mine, who's an avid reader. And she said, Doug, she said, in order for your audience to feel your pain, feel your darkness, feel your loss of hope, it's imperative. It's imperative that you take the reader all the way to that point of darkness. And so I did. I wrote that. I actually put the book down for nearly 3 years and picked it back up last fall and completed it and submitted it to Dorrance Publishing Company of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. And it's set to release sometime this spring. I'm just awaiting the cover design team to send me my cover submission for approval. And then once that process completes, then they will then send it to the print shop to begin putting it together.
Hmm. We'll be expecting that, Mr. Douglas. And suicide is something that is common in our time today. Even the rise of technology and the internet has oppressed a lot of people. And it just continues to rise every single day. I would like to ask Mr. Douglas, what do you personally think are the most common risk factors that possibly led to suicide thoughts or behaviors?
In my opinion, I believe that many of the commonalities of what leads someone to take their life by suicide is many of the things that I experienced in my life. Being bullied, having no hope, having no purpose. Every citizen born, regardless of the country, every citizen was put on this worldly planet with purpose. And when you lose that sense of not having purpose, not having hope, maybe experiencing being bullied or being peer pressured. Many countries have so much peer pressure on the younger children growing up to be successful, maybe like their mother or father or great grandfather or grandmother, that when people don't live up to the expectations of someone or a group of people, they start losing and slipping back into darkness. And if they don't have support, meaning if they don't have individuals, a community, if they don't have a community who truly cares about them, they figure, why am I here then? And that's really where I was at early in life. Sure, I had friends, but I didn't have a lot of support. In some of it, I wasn't willing to ask for help. And that's the other point that I would make is when people are feeling in a dark place of their life, it's okay not to be okay. Ask for help. You can't grow from your experience if you don't learn what's better in life for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Douglas. That was well said. And for the listeners, they could be thinking, even I myself, I could be thinking that how can I even possibly know if a person or probably someone that I know I'm very close to is could be having that thought of suicide? And how do I even personally think I can approach this person? How do I personally think I could talk to this person? I would like to ask Mr. Douglas, what do you think are the warning signs that someone might be considering suicide? And what do you think, even if someone possibly figured it out, what do you think that person should do, sir?
Well, the first thing is to watch for people's change in their behavior. You know, you have your friends and your family and colleagues around you. You know what type of behavior, you know their personality, you know their true character. And when things begin to look and sound different, if you're not asking that individual, hey, I noticed that this, I noticed that. Is there something going on? Would you like to talk about it? And sometimes, if you know that they've been experiencing severe depression and they're distant from everyone, have that hard question. Are you thinking about killing yourself? Many of us, or most of us, don't want to go down that road. And we're afraid to actually ask that hard question. Are you thinking about killing yourself? There is a difference. Hurting yourself and killing yourself. And, and back to the signs. If someone is, and some people are very good at this, constantly doing checks in on someone, but paying attention to what they're giving away. They say if you give your worldly possessions away, you're making peace with yourself, that you've arrived at a decision to take your life.
Hmm.
A good friend of mine here in America, a past Veterans of Foreign Wars organization, post commander, a year ago, July 27th, his son, prior to a year, died by cancer, only son. He took possession of his son's dog. He sank into very severe deep depression and had no support other than members like myself in the Veterans of Foreign Wars organization to talk with him. And the week prior, he gave his son's dog away. The day prior, he went out and purchased a handgun. And that morning, he went into the Veteran Affairs Hospital pleading for help. And someone missed the sign, in my opinion. Someone missed that sign, and he ran out to his vehicle and shot himself right in the parking lot.
Huh. Wow, that was a very, 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 very inspiring one, Mr. Douglas. That was a very, very tough one to take. And this even always bring us to the teenagers of today. You know, Mr. Douglas, you personally know that during your own time then, it's different from the time today. A lot of pressures, even among the teenagers today. We have TikTok, a lot of applications today. Personally, what unique challenges do you think young adults face regarding suicide risk?
It goes back to the bullying, the peer pressures.
Hmm.
Lead some families expect their child or their children to live up to an expectation that they did not get a chance to live up to.
Hmm.
Meaning, the star soccer player, the star football player, basketball player, tennis, the star, someone going to a well known university and getting a degree to be a doctor or a lawyer. If children don't get a chance to be children and they're forced into things that they really don't want to do to make their family happy, how can they have a true childhood? I never had. And maybe that's what led up to my attempts. I don't know. I can't really say. But I know that our world places too much stress on our young people
Hmm.
to be successful. That
Hmm.
many in here in America and maybe in your country, you younger, the youth of your community
Hmm.
has great expectations that have been going on for decades.
Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas. That's the very, very truth of the position we are today. We just personally need to live, we just have to be, I would just say, we just have to be proud of the little we have. And we just have to, just live life the way it comes, just to be happy and to be peaceful is enough in life. Thank you so much, sir. And some people could feel hopeless today. Some might be listening, they are feeling hopeless. They are even probably feeling overwhelmed, even to the point of this suicide that we're talking about. What message do you have for someone who feels hopeless or even overwhelmed right now, sir?
Well, my message is this: you are enough. You were placed in this world for a reason. You have hope. You have a purpose. You may not exactly understand what your purpose is this moment, but through love, through support, through community with one another, you'll discover that purpose, just like I did.
Hmm.
Suicide is a permanent answer to a temporary problem. It's not worth taking your life over material things or over things that can be changed for the good. There's always good in even the darkest moments. We may not see it and believe it because when we're living in that moment, we just want the pain to go away forever. And so I would implore anyone listening right this minute, because we know that somewhere in this world, hundreds are making an attempt right this very minute as we speak. Hundreds around this world are making an attempt to erase a life that their creator brought them into this world for a reason.
Hmm. That was well said. Thank you so much, Mr. Douglas, for the message. A lot of people really need this message. Thank you so much, sir. And lastly, there is a question I normally ask Mr. Douglas. From the ancestors, from the forefathers, there are a lot of things that exist, that happens during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today. If there is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing would be, sir?
Connection of family. Families today, definitely here in America, families today have been disconnected because of their busyness in their lives. In 50, 60, 80, 100, 150 years ago, I'm sure, especially 100 plus years ago, I'm sure our founders, forefounders, and ancestors, they valued family. They valued, if there's a problem, we'll deal with it right now. We won't let it build up to become a bigger problem. And many, in my opinion, many individuals, many families have forgot how to communicate. And when we lose the element of communication and being transparent and being honest with their feelings with one another, then the problem starts there and only builds and builds and builds until it leads to suicide.
Mr. Douglas, I want to personally thank you on this topic. From your personal experience in during the 1999, during the August 7th, we personally thank God that you didn't, to take that decision because I won't be in a position to be speaking with you today. So every single person in this life have a purpose. There is something that we are brought on this earth to do. The only thing we just need to do is not to over pressure ourselves, probably due to what we see on the internet or due to what we see probably in the application. We just need to sit down, think, and know what that purpose is. Then you can just start from somewhere and achieve it. I want to sincerely thank you, Mr. Douglas, for this opportunity, for this discussion, and for also giving me the second chance. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. And know that this, my book, My Dark Shadow, from a suicidal self to a purpose of hope, digging out
Hmm.
of the darkness, will come out across Amazon, across Barnes and Noble bookstores, be available in ebook, and at least 50% of all sales will go back into suicide prevention programs.
Hmm.
Because before I leave this earth, I want to see suicide eradicated.
I personally believe that will definitely happen. Since you have the mind to it, and I also sincerely thank you for the opportunity given this
Thank you.
suicidas organization this book because it will be a very very great book. It's going to teach someone what suicide is and even how someone can prevent what suicide to prevent themselves from committing suicide. We will definitely be expecting that book from you, Mr. Douglas. Thank you so much, sir. Bye bye.